The Honorable, the Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, I am very privileged to welcome you to today's conference that is hosted by the Nairobi Center for International Arbitration. We are co-hosting with the chairperson of the Nairobi Center for International Arbitration, my namesake, my sister, my friend, Jacqueline Oyuyo, whom we have worked with fairly closely to see this conference come to fruition, and the wider Nairobi Arbitration Week. For your benefit, I just wanted to mention that we have had the opportunity to interact with arbitrators, with practitioners, with scholars, with various people from not only Kenya, not only East Africa, actually the entire continent of Africa, as well as representatives from at least 3 continents. So we feel very privileged and very encouraged that arbitration and ADR has the depth that is required in and outside of Africa, and particularly here in Nairobi. The conference is arbitrating in the age of sustainability, and there are no more apt theme that you could have had the opportunity to come and address us on. So for the benefit of our visitors who are present, the Honorable, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya is a lady, a woman we take a great inspiration from. She has straddled very many responsibilities in the judiciary, and I will not even attempt to name each and every one of them, but she has been there for more than 2 decades. If you're happy. She has been a champion of justice, and she has not only served in Kenya, she has served also in the East Africa community, and she was part of the team that debated and ensured that it came into reality, and she participated in putting the instruments of the East African community. Those of us who appreciate that work, I think we can put our hands together. Now, I could go on and on about the Honorable, the Chief Justice. I have great admiration for her. She has always supported CIAB Kenya branch as the patron, and I think she will stand out singularly for ensuring that the entire Supreme Court, practically the entire Supreme Court, are fellows of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. We approached her, and she told us, I do not walk alone. And because Dr. Mumba Malila is Chief Justice, is also sitting right next to her, this is another challenge, once again, to your Supreme Court, so that you can bring everybody into the fold. Like I said, I could go on and on. The last thing I'm going to say is that she has been named the United Nations Kenya Person of the Year. I think that was in 2020, because she is a champion of justice for children. And actually, after reading the social transformation on access to justice, we can safely say that she is a champion of justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for our patron, a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, and the Honorable, the Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court of the Republic of Kenya.
Thank you very much, our Titan, Jacqueline. Please, may we take our seats? Yes. I don't know why I'm a bit nervous this afternoon. I think it's because I met the King and the Queen of the Netherlands this morning. So I was in a fright mode that has not gone away. But thank you very much, Jacqueline, for that very generous and kind introduction. Let me begin by recognizing in a very special way my brother, the Honorable Dr. Mumba Malila, Senior Counsel and the Chief Justice of the Republic of Zambia. I also recognize and congratulate Professor Dr. Mohamed Wahab, the Global President of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, I recognize Madam Jacqueline, all of them. Together, the three titans, I recognize all of you, and our dear distinguished guests, honorable arbitrators, senior counsel, advocates, practitioners, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. Yes, very honored to address this esteemed gathering of arbitrators, of practitioners, of legal scholars, policymakers, and business leaders from across the continent, and indeed the globe, at the 9th International Arbitration Conference. Listening to the esteemed panelists who have just exited the stage, I started doubting whether my speech would have any key or even any notes, because they are extremely knowledgeable on this topic that I was asked to speak about the path to sustainability in the arbitration practice. I do absolutely associate myself with those submissions that they have made, that we have to embrace technology in arbitration if we have to be sustainable and if we have to be relevant in the future. I extend my appreciation to the Saturn Institute of Arbitrators, Kenya branch, and the Nairobi Center for International Arbitration for your dedication in promoting alternative dispute resolution, NDR, and for organizing the second Nairobi Arbitration Week. This forum that I regret I was not able to attend from the beginning to the end serves as a crucial platform for dialogue and collaboration on the evolution of the arbitration in response to contemporary global challenges. My brother, the Chief Justice of Zambia, has told me he has taken copious of notes and he is going to give me those notes so that I can be able to catch up with a very, very rich program and topics that I missed. So the theme of this year's Nairobi Arbitration Week, arbitrating in the age of sustainability, is particularly significant because sustainability has become a defining issue of our time. Whatever we do, whatever we engage in, the question we ask ourselves, is this sustainable? And Senior Counsel Legero has jogged our minds what we used to do in practice when a client instructed you to take up a matter and file it in court. First of all, you spend the whole night preparing the printings, and then in the morning you wake up and go to court. The first challenge is where you park. When you park the car, you go to the registry. The next headache is who will pull out the file for you, because everybody in the registry looks busy attending to their business. They can even tell you they did not wake up to come there and wait for you. They have other business. So you have to talk to them softly. And for us, we know what it means to talk to them nicely so that they can pull out the file for you. You go and have the assessment. First of all, they assess the payment. Then you walk to the bank to pay. You come back. And then they allow the filing. Then another one to carry it for you before the judge. And then after, if you are lucky to be heard by the judge, another one to carry the file to the registry, another one to extract the order, another one to have the order certified and issued. That would take you almost a week. So now we do that from the comfort of our desk. And I did not hear anybody clap for that. Don't have. You don't have to do all that. So sustainability has really become the defining issue of our time, because that kind of practice was not going to be sustainable. And we must influence every sector, including the law and the dispute resolution. I was just whispering to Jacqueline, asking her whether they have embraced technology at CIAB so that nobody walks there to file documents or to do anything. They have embraced a filing portal where everything can be filed. So as we navigate an increasing complex global landscape marked by climate change, thank you, President, for reminding us also. Another imperative for us is always to ask what we are doing, whether it's impacting the environment. So this is why we must embrace digital transformation and evolving economic dynamics. Arbitration must evolve to align with the imperatives of a more sustainable future. So, distinguished participants, sustainability is no longer a peripheral concern. It is a fundamental responsibility. Arbitration as a refund mechanism for commercial dispute resolution must integrate sustainable practices to reduce its environmental footprint. This entails minimizing reliance on physical documentation, encouraging electronic filing, and utilizing virtual hearings to curtail unnecessary travel. In the Kenya judiciary, we have embraced e-filing in all our court stations. We decided we have to bite the bullet because we were piloting in Nairobi for almost 3 years. And we asked ourselves, when will we ever get to all the court stations in the country, including the far-flung areas? And we realized that we were working in silo, because the government is involved in ensuring there is what they call the last mile connectivity of internet, using fiber optic connectivity. And we approach them and we said we are part of the government. And the services we render, judicial services, are also services that are rendered to Kenyans. And the same way they want to access other government services, they also want to access judicial services. And we were able to convince the government to connect all our courts with the fiber optic connectivity. There are, of course, people who are limited. There is the digital divide that our colleagues were talking about. But we make sure within our court station, we have a help desk. You cannot complain that you cannot come to court, because even a physical court, you appear. So when you come and you're not able to access the devices that do the e-filing, electronic filing, then we can assist you to file. And we are moving also to see how we can integrate this with other services that are rendered to the public, to see whether they can use those portals to do filings in the judiciary. So what I'm trying to say is that we have to be very, very innovative when we are embracing technology and see how we can work with others and move on. So procedural sustainability also demands that we streamline arbitration process to minimize excessive documentation and resource-intensive hearings, which contribute to higher costs and carbon emissions. By embracing digitization and artificial intelligence, although I've heard senior Jerry Kariuki telling you not to embrace artificial intelligence, but I believe there are limited ways which you can use that, especially to cross-check the information that you are dealing with and the documentation that you have. My children have been asking me why I cannot use artificial intelligence even to check whether my judgment is, they were calling it legitimate. And I was wondering, what do you mean legitimate? They say, you know, you could have plagiarized somebody else's judgment. And when you put it in this AI application, it will show you the percentage of the work that has originated from you. Which is a good thing also. I want to see whether my judgment is actually original, but I refused to subject it to that because I thought it would also steal it. And I have not yet read it. So we have a long way to go so that we can be comfortable with AI. But I believe there is so much that it can do to help us in our work. Right now, we are using AI in trying to record our proceedings. AI just listens to what we are saying and, transcribes our proceedings. We had a problem because it could not pick our accents, but with time, to begin with, our proceedings would be like 30% correct. But with the time, they have gone up to 70%. So it will reach a time when 100% the use of AI to transcribe our proceedings will be correct. So we should never fear technology. We should always put our best foot forward and continuously learn. So online dispute resolution mechanisms offer a promising avenue for making arbitration greener and more agile and more inclusive. Institutions worldwide have already taken commendable steps towards sustainable arbitration. I have in mind the International Chamber of Commerce, Green Arbitration Branch. I also have in mind the London Court of International Arbitrators, who updated arbitration rules 2020 to promote eco-friendly practices by requiring that requests and responses be submitted electronically. So as African arbitration practitioners, we must take the lead in developing similar initiatives tailored to our unique context, ensuring that sustainability becomes a core principle of arbitration in this region. Ladies and gentlemen, for arbitration to remain a preferred dispute resolution mechanism, it must be cost-effective. It must also be timely, and it must be accessible. Delays and prohibitive costs undermine the very essence of arbitration, discouraging businesses, especially small and medium enterprises, from utilizing this mechanism as a preferred method for dispute resolution. Sustainable arbitration requires a recalibration of our approaches. Arbitrators must embrace case management principles that prioritize efficiency and balances fairness and affordability. I urge all of us to reevaluate our arbitration procedures and explore ways and means through which we can reduce the time and costs associated with arbitration. That is a matter of sustainability. How do we sustain arbitration? It is by looking at the cost effectiveness and the value for money. Africa's rise as an economic powerhouse necessitates strong dispute resolution mechanisms that reflect our legal, economic, and cultural realities. Many arbitration agreements still default, to traditional arbitration hubs in Europe, but Africa must position itself as a viable and attractive seat for arbitration. No wonder now we are holding the president for the global CIAB. I believe this will resort to something in this regard. Achieving this requires investments in institutional frameworks that support arbitration. This calls also for collaboration between our governments, judiciaries, and arbitration centers to create favorable legal and regulatory environments for the uptake of arbitration as a preferred method of dispute resolution. In this respect, we must continue championing legal and policy interventions across the continent that are geared towards strengthening domestic arbitration frameworks that uphold party autonomy. Also, strengthening frameworks that support the enforcement of arbitration agreements and to minimize judicial interference. Moreover, enhancing the credibility of regional arbitration centers such as the Nairobi Center for International Arbitration, the Kigali International Arbitration Center, and the Lagos Court of Arbitration, among others, is essential to us positioning Africa as a leading hub for arbitration. I expected you to clap for that. Thank you. It is also important to recognize that Africa Continental Free Trade Area presents a unique opportunity for us to harmonize arbitration frameworks across the continent. As intra-African trade expands, we must ensure that our arbitration systems are equipped to handle all the cross-border commercial disputes and to do so efficiently. Turning to Kenya judiciary's role in promoting sustainable practices in arbitration, it is important to underscore that the Kenya judiciary is committed to promoting sustainable arbitration by fostering a pro-arbitration judicial environment, encouraging efficiency and technological adoption, and addressing emerging challenges in arbitration. A predictable and arbitration-friendly judicial system is critical to ensuring that arbitration awards are enforced efficiently and that court intervention remains minimal. Landmark judgments from the Supreme Court, such as the Newto Agrobet case and the Synergy Industrial Credit case, have reaffirmed the principle of limited judicial intervention, thereby promoting the autonomy of arbitration while ensuring procedural fairness. Sustainability in arbitration is also linked to efficiency. The judiciary's embrace of e-filing, introduced as part of our digital transformation agenda, has led to a shift towards electronic documentation, thereby reducing paperwork and aligning judicial enforcement of arbitration awards with eco-friendly legal practices. Additionally, virtual hearings have become an integral part of Kenya's justice system, offering a more sustainable alternative to in-person proceedings by reducing travel requirements for parties, arbitrators, and legal counsel. However, challenges remain with respect to fostering a pro-arbitration legal environment. A widely circulated article by business journalist Mr. Jaindi Kiselo, published in the Daily Nation on 10th December 2024, highlighted the concerns about the high costs of arbitration and issues related to ethics and integrity. So the perception that arbitration has become an expensive dispute resolution mechanism limits access for small businesses and individuals. To address this, stakeholders must explore mechanisms to reduce the cost of arbitration while maintaining the quality and efficiency. These include promoting expedited arbitration procedures, encouraging the use of institutional arbitration with structured fee schedules, and developing pro bono and subsidized arbitration programs for SMEs and vulnerable groups. Ethics and integrity in arbitration practice are equally critical. The credibility of arbitration relies on the impartiality and professionalism of arbitrators, and I believe these two, ethics and integrity, speak also to sustainability, because if one has none of those two, then you wonder how sustainable the practice can be. To safeguard integrity, we must strengthen regulatory frameworks to ensure arbitrator accountability, enforce codes of ethics and professional standards, and encourage greater disclosure by arbitrators to avoid conflict of interest. We in the judiciary are committed to promoting ethical arbitration practices and ensuring judicial oversight to prevent misconduct while respecting the autonomy of arbitral proceedings. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, the sustainability of arbitration is a shared responsibility. We must be forward-thinking, we must be adaptable and proactive in shaping an arbitration landscape that is environmentally conscious, one which is efficient and resilient. The Kenyan judiciary remains steadfast in our commitment to fostering an arbitration-friendly judicial environment, leveraging on technology and working with stakeholders in addressing key challenges such as the costs and ethical concerns. I urge all the stakeholders, the arbitrators, legal practitioners, policymakers, and business leaders to join us in advancing a sustainable arbitration landscape that aligns with global best practices while addressing the unique needs of our jurisdiction. Let this conference serve as a catalyst for deeper conversations, for stronger partnerships, and also for seeking and finding practical solutions that will shape the future of arbitration. Let us seize this wonderful golden opportunity to innovate, to collaborate, and chart a path towards a more sustainable future for arbitration practice. I wish you all a very fruitful and engaging conference, and thank you very much for inviting me and for listening to me, and congratulations.